My name is Adrian Thomas, and I'm the chair for this first session. Thank you. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all for attending, and I'd like to remind you that in case of the fire exit, please exit through the back doors and down the stairs to the lane behind the hotel. Also, I would please remind you to turn your mobile phones off, or at least turn them to silent. I'd like to thank the sponsors: Platinum sponsor, Schultz; Gold sponsors, Allnex, ASCC, Chemiplas, Tronox, Vibrance and Viva; and the silver sponsors, Albert Inc. Bowley, Alchemy, Brentag, DKSH, Illawarra Coatings, Shepherd Colour and Umicore, who are the sponsor of the technical sessions. I'd also like to remind you that we will be taking down the clue for the treasure hunt shortly and putting a new one up before the end of this session. So please, if you haven't submitted your response to the clue, could you please do so PDQ very quickly. I'd also like to remind you that the in the app there is the opportunity to rate the speaker and also the opportunity to rate the booth out in the coding show. I'd now like to introduce the speaker. The first speaker is Huzaifa H. Matawala, and he is the CEO of the Paint Foundation. His topic is the topic of circular reuse, sustainable model of paint recycling. And here he will be talking about coatings, the ingredients for durability, era of abundance, challenges, circular reuse, how to convert waste to use, the glimpse of the US rules regarding waste, raw materials, finished goods, etc., EPA, although it's probably become a little bit demasculated recently, industry associations, and then the advantages of waste minimisation. Huzaifa Matawala is a third-generation paint manufacturer and a modern-day entrepreneur. With a business presence in India, UAE, Africa and the US, Huzaifa can influence several environmental projects globally. Scholarly articles by him and articles featuring him and his work are published in Europe, Canada, the US, Australia, India and Africa in different prestigious journals and magazines. He has chaired and spoken on several global platforms. He is a founder of the non-profit foundation in the US that handles several environmental and philanthropic projects. His patents in process with the United States Patent and Trademark Office with revolutionary formulations has protected several millions of acres of land from pollution, creating impact with campaigns like 1 million litres of paints donations, zero waste corporations, and this time donations of 500 truckloads of sanitizer amounting to $30 million US. Hence, by setting an example of social and corporate responsibility with the Paint Foundation and emerging as a global entrepreneur with a paint conglomerate with Regent Paints USA, Mr. Huzaifa emerges as an interpreter of economics, science and history, helping to create simple business fundamentals. So with no more ado, would you please welcome Huzaifa Matawala. Thank you.
So good morning, everyone. Here we are on the day one for the first session, and what a lovely day to start with, and what a wonderful topic to start the day with, paint recycling. I would probably term this as mother of sustainability, because recycling is the most important thing in the coating industry and in any industry we come forward as a most important charter for circular reuse and sustainability. Now, today we're going to discuss on a few topics on paint recycling, paint raw material recycling, and challenges around it. And these would be the few important points, as it was previously mentioned, that we'll be covering these topics, so I don't want to repeat it again. And I want to make sure we use the best of the time and deliver the most important points that could perhaps change and create avenues with all the paint industry and paint raw material industry to open doors for recycling instead of sending paint into waste. Before I start, an example, a coating industry that rightfully uses recycled plastics in manufacturing its bucket as a modus operandi for paint recycling. But eventually, on the end of the life, gives that bucket full of paint into a landfill. Now, this is something using a paper straw and traveling in a private jet. So let's start with this. Purpose of sustainability, paint as a product, as a product in the industry, my coating or your coating, whichever item it touches, any substrate it touches to, it increases the lifespan of it, it enhances the beauty of it, and it makes it more durable, and it makes it more of a value, and hence creates sustainability. So coating industry by itself is one of the most sustainable industry that is creating sustainability to everything it touches, the walls, the homes, the ships, the planes, the bridges. And we've been seeing coating getting used into Asian history from 2,000 years, from 5,000 years. We've got examples of coating being used in the pyramids, into hanging gardens of Babylon. And it has been extremely important. But what we've seen, that any substrate coating touches to, it gives it durability. It helps that particular item to degrade less from the environment. But here's a challenge. When the coating has to go back to environment, it is not able to degrade itself and become biodegradable. Anything biodegradable is 6 months or under. And coating doesn't fall into that category still yet. There are some examples. We are coming up with solutions. We are having biodegradable ingredients, raw materials that are changing. But wouldn't it be phenomenal if we are able to reuse everything back and not wait for the biodegradable ingredients to come and help and save the coatings? This is an important factor. So ingredients for durability, and that changes into manufacturers, challenges to the manufacturers, and molecular formula picks and charts. So basically, we divide the coating into two parts, the solvent-based coatings and the water-based coatings. And based on that, we are able to decide and allocate what is going to get recycled and how. In the slides further, we will be seeing these are molecular charts for a solvent-based coating and a water-based coating, and how they are compatible with solvent-based to solvent-based and water-based to water-based. So we'll be discussing on an in-depth, detailed in the other slides, where we'll be talking on the ingredients and how a coating is created and what products are created in recycling process of paint manufacturing, whereby we are able to take unused paint, unsalable paint, items that are expired, stock that is no longer of good, off-the-shelf item, mistints, and several paint and paint raw materials also that could go back into circular reuse, creating lesser environmental burden on us and the future generations to come. Just like I mentioned, we are able to study the solvent and resin structure, its compatibility, density, and the boiling point study. So when we recycle paint, we have to make sure that the solvent and the resin is compatible with each other. Water-based is simple. You could mix satin, eggshell, semi-gloss, flat, matte, primers, where the common item is water, and use them back into one particular coating and create a paint out of it. So that is the easy part of it. What is not so easy is the solvent base, whereby you cannot probably mix an IPA or an alcohol-based resin and coating into something that is made out of mineral spirits or xylenes. So that compatibility is important, and when we've been manufacturing, we've made mistakes, and we've got batches that turned out into a cake in the morning. We left back in the factory production cycle, assuming everything will be all right, but a guy mixed a wrong can of paint, and then everything turned like a big cake in the morning. So we are producing items, over 53 different kind of paints, using the waste stream. Majority of the items that we are using are the items that are off-spec, expired, unusable, unsalable items, where no technical data sheet or no MSDS provided by the manufacturer would comply it, because it is not as per the specs. That is the reason why we come in the picture. You created a product with everything in spec, and still things went wrong. And they go wrong. They will go wrong. Because chemicals, they react with atmosphere, they react with time, they react with temperatures. A substrate painted in winters and the same in summers is going to be different. And things react, things happen. There are floods, there are natural calamities, and when things go wrong, we are the one who's able to take those items, create product of use. And there is no magic behind this. There is a very simple science behind it. And the way we do it, how we do it, we'll be seeing in the other slides. So there are three important things. One is understanding the compatibility. The other one is sorting, batch making, and production, whereby you take all the ingredients with the similar chemistries into one particular IBC or a tote or a tank. And third is formulations. When we create a product, you are not always able to create a product with all this ingredient as it is. We have to mix new items, and these recyclable items go in the component of maybe 70 and 30% of it, and rest of the items are the new products. That helps get the chemistry right. But every batch is different, and every batch is a challenge. But we are trying to sustain, and we are trying to see we find a solution to everything. This is one of my favorite slides of all the time, an era of abundance. So on August 15th, 1971, President Nixon in the United States converted the currency, which was gold back, into fiat. So no longer was the American dollar backed by gold. And then we went into an unlimited money printing spree ever since. So when you see the two charts over here, one is the chart that is showing you the national debt, which is equal to money printing, that is equal to deficit financing, or you can also call it as helicopter money. And we are finding a relation of this with annual carbon dioxide emission. We started spending more because we had more. We've obviously grown tremendously in this last 55 years. The speed has become very good. I mean, you see where we were in 1940s and 50s, and industrial revolution, digital revolutions, and growth, and everything picked up so well. Industrialization, globalization, and here we are in the AI age today. And majority of this was possible with an abundance of money flow in the market. Now, how this affects the environment and why this is related to the circular economy, like an example, a paint manufacturing company that manufactured 100 gallons of paint every day 30 years back. His manufacturing cost was $2 a gallon. Fast forward, today, the same unit made progress, markets are bigger now, and is able to manufacture 10,000 gallons a day. Now, what we've learned in economics in the past, that with increase of production, increase of supply, the raw material price should go down. It should have gone down, but it did not go down. It did not happen that way. The reason being that we missed in our books of economics when we were studying, there is a money supply that is getting pushed in the market. So there is more money now chasing fewer goods. There are more goods, 10,000, but the money supply is multiplied by several times more than that. That caused inflation, and that inflation caused the prices to rise. So being in the era of abundance, the financial times where everything is possible, the economic era where currency is empowering unlimited access to extract natural resources and create easy lifestyles. There is a correlation with this in both the charts where you see both the charts are going up. So we are able to extract more, cutting more trees down, making more projects. We are perhaps using more than how much we need. A solution to this is circular economy. Because recycling, circular economy is deflationary in nature. Not only you are saving water, millions of gallons of water, not only you're saving the land, the water table below it, but also you're creating value from waste. And this is anti-inflationary because there are three types of taxes. We know the two, the direct tax, which is the income tax and the wealth tax, the indirect tax, that is perhaps the GST, and the sales tax, and now the tariff. And the third tax that we do not know is inflation. So you have money in your bank. You had $500,000 2 years ago, but then that $500,000 is going to buy less today because someone somewhere printed more money and made the money in your bank less valuable. This is in connection with inflation. This is in connection with carbon emissions. And since we have more, we are spending more. This was one of the slides that I had on the finance. Now we go back to the technical and the actual part of it. So when we recycle paint, we have two challenges. We are able to take from two places. The first is the household hazardous waste. The paint cans that were sold in the stores that perhaps did not match the color, the husband bought the paint, the wife did not like it, and it comes back to the store. Or the store intentionally made a wrong shade. And the third is when you're using a paint, you need only 5 liters of paint, but you bought 10 liters. That 5 liter is sitting in your garage. This is accumulating waste. This comes back. This is the household hazardous waste from the paint stores. So this usually is covered by paint care, paint back, product care in Canada, paint care in UK is coming up with a program. But yet, I mean, only 20 to 25% of this paint is available for recycling, reuse, circular. There is good amount of opportunities that needs to be covered. And with all the HSW municipalities, counties, governments, associations are doing a wonderful job. Paint Care and Paint Back is doing an amazing job trying to bring big things back into circular reuse. And this is perhaps the first very good step forward with paint recycling. The other waste is from the paint factories. When a paint factory manufactures products, it creates off-specs. It creates waste. It creates things in the production cycle, like washed solvents and washed waters. There are formulation changes. There are items that no longer are needed in the market. There is a takeover. There is a merger. There are so many things happening behind, and that is always creating an excess inventory that cannot be used, that cannot be recycled. This is a lovely recycling chart. You can take a picture of it if you like, but this explains paint recycling in totality. Like the way we work over here. So we start from here. This is something that is connected to a paint manufacturing unit. When you are manufacturing a resin or a binder or pigment or titanium dioxides, you have off-specs, you have waste in that. So we are able to take this. You see the pipeline going into production. The second kind of waste that we are able to work with is with the paint manufacturing companies. Like we mentioned, a paint factory would have good amount of off-specs, rejects, unusable, unsalable items. The third is the distribution and the sales. We mentioned about the paint stores, the mist tints, the half cans, full cans. And the fourth is the application. This is the 5-liter paint that you bought, but you used only the rest of the 5, and the 5 is sitting in a garage since it's a very long time. This is about that. So we are able to take all this 1, 2, 3, 4 items create batches out of it, get it back into circular economy, and create a product that goes out into paint, into circular economy. Now, majority of the product goes into developing communities and the communities of need. We will come to that slide after. But disposal becomes donation, and recycling becomes charity. So majority of the paint that is collected, recycled, repurposed back into the circular economy, it goes into the economies of need. So we work as a non-profit foundation, 501c3, which is a public charity, whereby we either put those products for 10 cents of a dollar, or we give it out for free in most of the cases for reuse. And this is product, this is usable. This is obviously not of the best of the quality, but it works fine. And the economies it goes to, we are able to get reuse for it very easily. So this is a question I get asked several times, that how do you convert the waste into reuse? It is a waste. We've been calling it as a waste since so many decades. We're giving it to a transporter company who are collecting it from us and land burying it. So the definition is very clear. How do we get it back into a circular reuse? So this is how it works. When you follow these 5 steps, you have created a usable product in your books to send it out as a product. 1, identify it. No longer identify that item as a waste. That is a product. If you partner with someone, or if you yourself can reuse it into your batches of production, identify it first. What are those items? 2, categorize it correctly. You don't have to categorize it as a waste any longer. You categorize it as a product. You store it in a place where you put it with all the other products. You don't store it with your waste items. And most importantly, you label it correctly. You don't label them as dump, you don't label them as waste, you don't label them as recycled items or scrap or a waste. You label them correctly that it's going to go back into a reuse for a project. And most importantly, you do all these 4 items, but then if you eventually give it to a landfill or a fuel blending, that's not circular reuse. You will not be able to get it out as a waste, as a product. You will be still moving it out as a waste. But when it is given for a circular reuse, where the product is used as it is, without extracting anything out of it, without changing its form, or without burying it in the land, in a further batch of a production, it is then classified as a product. This is a 40 CFR glimpse of an exemption to the rule booklet summary, point 13 and point 14. This is a US EPA law that has an exemption. I'm sure there are exemptions in New Zealand and Australia also, whereby you can move these items as a product if they are going out into a circular reuse. Now, there is 4 types of recycling. 1, you take the item, give it to a scrap dealer, he takes it, he blind buries it. That is recycling. You've recycled it. But is that the best way to do? Definitely not. The second is, you give it to a company who uses it as fuel, and then you get a fuel burning credits, and that is going out as a fuel burning element. That is recycling? Yes. That is going out as a waste? Yes. But it is a better option than the first. The third option we have today is extracting the solvent and the water out of the waste. So when you do this, are you recycling? Yes. Is it a circular reuse? Definitely yes. But the problem is that product still going out from your company is going out as a waste. And the fourth most important thing, if you're able to take all this and if you're able to get it out as it is into batches of production, without changing its form, without extracting anything out of it, without using it for a fuel, you're using it as a product. So hence, not only this is recycling, not only this is circular reuse, but now this item in your books is no longer a waste. It is a product because it is getting used as a product. This is a quick glimpse of the 40 CFR. We will go a little fast. I'm 25 minutes already. These are the kind of items we see that we are able to use in batches of production, that we are able to take off specs, customer returns, machine washes, incomplete batches, brand changes, industrial waste, solvent waste, tank washes, high acid value variations in alkyd resins. Where the acid value is high, the viscosity has gone wrong. On the Gardner color, the color is not coming very good. Expired inventory, mistints, pigment industry waste, resin industry waste. I'm calling it waste, but technically it is a product. Closeouts, basically a huge amount of non-saleable, unusable items. EPA loves us, government loves us, paint manufacturers love us. You're bringing solution to the table, you're reducing the waste, you're getting products in use to the needy economies. What better way to get into sustainability? And doing it as a charity. So that would be the fifth point, even more blessings down the road. Now, we've been talking about sustainability, and we will talk about sustainability all day today. We'll be having more topics of sustainability tomorrow also. But here's the thing. I'm not here to sell you sustainability. You cannot buy sustainability from anywhere. These are your goals. This is your company. And this will differ from one company to the other. And these goals will change from time to time. But if you are able to keep things in circular economy, you have mastered the game of it. We get into partnerships with paint manufacturers, government agencies, associations like SCAA and SCAA New Zealand, giving me an opportunity to bring this on a stage, give a presentation. How much product I'm able to take from these two places, I'm not really sure. But if I'm able to convince a few manufacturers in a coating industry or a raw material industry or someone from EPA and get that particular thing on the board, that now we have opportunities for paint recycling, maybe my company or any other company who's recycling paint will be able to benefit from this. So there are three things to it. One is we manufacture paint, so we need the ingredients from companies. That is easily available. If there are 100 more companies just like me who's recycling paint, trust me, we'll still have more than 50% of the waste lying around that needs to be recycled. So there is a huge amount of product that needs to be taken care of and reused. The second thing is the formulation. Formulations are not very easy, but then they're easy to get also. The third most important part in this is the sales of it. We have manufacturing of recycling paint in several developed countries, but they're unable to succeed in this because in spite of having everything, we are missing is the market. If I would sell a wrong can of paint in United States or Australia or Europe somewhere, I will perhaps get sued 3 times an hour because there are so many mistakes in the paint can. But if I have a market that is able to take my paint with those irregularities, obviously the paint has to follow a few things. It should dry, it should color, it should stay. But the places where we send, people paint homes every year. In Mexico, in Middle East, in Africa, in India, where painting, it's a birthday, let's paint a house. It's a festival, let's paint a house. It's Christmas, let's paint a house. So we use more paint, they use it very often. Durability and quality specs are not of the best of the parameters. We are able to win there. This is my paint foundation, a circular economy where we are able to create a product. We come with goals and ambitions of zero waste corporations, which is obviously hard to achieve. But even if we are gone there halfway, we've reached the moon, wanted to go to the stars. Providing paints to the needy communities. We've done some job during the COVID. That was very helpful. Then these are the certificates of corporate responsibility we give to the factories who participate in circular reuse. Certificate of excellence to the individuals who participate and help circular reuse in the company. A corporate social responsibility charter. Look from where we started. We started from finding solution to a waste. And now we are talking about a corporate social responsibility thing. So issue that was a problem 30 minutes ago is now bringing goodwill to your company. Not only you are creating more product, but now you're giving it out as a goodwill, as a donation, and doing the best thing with what? with your waste. The project lowers the carbon footprint on both the sides. One, by reusing the waste production lines, we are replacing the use of the new raw materials, hence that much lower extraction of oil, that much lesser use of power, that much cutting lesser trees, that much lesser erosion of soils. And we are also saving the land from landfills, saving millions of square meters of the land from deprivation of agriculture, and secure purity of water tables underneath. These are a few items that we have created with the water-based coatings for recycling. These are the items we have created from the solvent-based coating and recycling. This is our goal, to create zero-waste corporations, have millions of liters in donation for the communities, a place where disposal becomes donation and recycling becomes charity. A few links to all the work we do, the LinkedIn, the YouTubes, the website with articles, the podcast, and everything that speaks on circular reuse, the chemical ways of it, the legal ways of it, the work that we've done in the past. Your recipe for success will be unique. You cannot just cut, copy, paste it. This is the last slide, and after this, we have a quick video, and I will explain how it works. This is the video from my factory, where we are opening the paint cans, putting them into a bulk, and the entire process. So if you could start the video, that could be good. So here it is. This is solvent-based paint. We're opening the paint cans, putting them into 1,000-liter IBC totes. The paints have to be homogeneous in nature. We want to make sure each and every drop of the paint is utilized correctly. This is the first stage, sorting and bulking. So after we open the cans, we want to make sure that the cans are crushed. So the brand is destroyed and the metal or the plastic is reutilized into metal recycling or plastic recycling. So these are the ingredients in the bulk, the raw materials and the bulk paint in 1,000-liter tanks or 200-liter drums. Color, sheen, dry tying, as we discussed. So taken to the stirrers and blenders. This is the manufacturing happening in the factory, whereby we are using these bulk items as it is, with the properties that come in. This is addition of pigments and other ingredients to make sure everything goes right. Now, every batch is an independent batch, and every chemistry is different from the other. This is the final product. This is the bitumen coating that takes majority of the nasty items, the epoxies, the polyurethanes, the solvent-based stuff. We can take all the color and turn them into black. And they are usually sold for very, very, very low price in very large volumes. This is the price of a packing material in most of the places. We do bulk. This is my Region Paint brand. These are finished products going out. You've seen this. Here goes a truck for the final delivery. That's it. That's the end of the video. And so Region Paint is one company, Paint Foundation is the other company, and we have funded our own foundation. We do not take any money from any outside. Whatever money we've made within our group and with the working of this gets utilized into different projects. So I think I've done the presentation, and I'm open for questions if anybody have any.
So do we have any questions?
Yes, so we are able to take the raw materials also. So if it is a resin or a pigment or some kind of a solvent mix, even items like washed solvents and washed waters, we are able to use them into batches of production.
The economics of the process of recycling, selling it at a very discounted price. So if you pay for raw material supplies for their paints.
Yes.
Sorry, I'll try that again. The economic, I mean, the whole recycling, reuse is obviously of great interest to everyone, but the economics of the process, I'm wondering if that, obviously your factory's in India.
Dubai.
Do you have any factories in the USA or anything like outside
We've
of
got,
that?
yes, sorry. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just wondering about the economics of the process. How do you make money?
So there are three things. One, you charge us the fee if the product is very good. Two, nobody charges anybody. We pick it up for free. And third, which is my favorite, I charge you. So depending on what it is, how good it is, how bad it is, and where it is located, because as you correctly said, logistics is a very important part of calculation. So when things are right and product is right, we are able to move it. And the pricing is right. It has to be right for your company to move it at that pricing. And if we could make a use for it, we will definitely do it. All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. On behalf of SCAA, thank you very much for presenting your paper. Thank you. Thank you.